Hello and welcome to the video. Welcome back to episode 5 of Christmas Essentials you should buy for your Nintendo Switch in 2024. This series is doing really well on this channel, so I'm thinking I should continue with this. So here we go, let's get to it. Here's number 1. First game that I'm going to talk about is Super Mario RPG. Now, Super Mario RPG is a remake of a game from the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, this game was the very first ever RPG game from the Super Mario series. Do you know what? It's a really fun time. Nintendo decided to make a remake of this game for the Nintendo Switch. It came out really well. Graphically, it's got a massive overhaul. It's got a really good amount of improvements. And yeah, relatively, the game hasn't actually been changed much either. There's not really that much change from the game, and it feels like the original game from the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, I didn't really grow up with this game when I was younger because I never had a Super Nintendo Entertainment System. So I never actually got to play Super Mario RPG, the original. But this game came out on Nintendo Switch, and it's a relatively great game to have because it takes you back in time. A lot of people love this game for its characters. There's some really obscure characters in this game. For example, Geno is a character in this, and Geno has kind of become this iconic Mario character that is a bit of a legend. A lot of people request Geno for Super Smash Bros. Yes, we have had a Mii costume for Geno, but we've never had an official character reveal. I don't think Geno's ever actually really appeared in any other form of Super Mario, being a Square Enix character and everything. This is just a game that you should get your hands on to. It's not a massively long game either. It's about 20 hours long, I would say. It's a bit of a comedy. It's got a lot of charm to it. It has that Super Mario feel to it, what you'd expect from a Super Mario game that's also a JRPG. If you like games like Paper Mario or Mario and Luigi, this is perfect, as this is the original RPG for the Super Mario series. And if you want to see kind of where everything stemmed from, then the Super Mario RPG game is where everything kind of fell into place for Mario as an RPG series. As a piece of Nintendo's history as well, and with their relationship with Square Enix on this game, it's an amazing game to have. So there you go, Super Mario RPG. And then carrying on with RPGs, I'm going to talk about another Mario game, and that is Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Now, this is a game that is very similar to, say, Fire Emblem, but it's set with Mario characters. This is also a crossover with the Rayman series. Now, if you're not familiar with the Rayman series, Rayman is a series of games where you basically play as this character known as Rayman. And then in the 4th Rayman game, the characters known as Raving Rabbids appeared. Now, the Raving Rabbids became a very essential part of the Rayman series, and Rayman has kind of been outshone by the Rabbids at this point. You know, the Rabbids are arguably more iconic than Rayman himself. The Rabbids, you may have seen them, they are kind of like the original minions in a way, I suppose. But in this game, they cross over with the Super Mario games. In this game, you'll see Mario meet up and fight alongside the Raving Rabbids for an adventure, and it's really good. It plays a bit like Fire Emblem, where it's like this chessboard setting where every level is turn-based, and it's almost like a puzzle game at the same time as a strategy game. And what happens is you take turns to move your characters around the map on like this gridded level. It works out really well, and it's relatively fun to play. I haven't actually beat this game myself. I've played about 10 hours into it. As a short and sweet game, this works really well. This actually is the first game of 2 as well. There is another game that came after this known as Sparks of Hope, which was the sequel to Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Yeah, look out for this one. You can actually get this one pretty cheap. Really interesting boss battles in this as well. One of my favorites is one of the first boss battles that you encounter, and that is, it's like the Donkey Kong Rabbid. It is fun. He's, you know, it's Donkey Kong crossed with a rabbit. You can't go wrong with Rayman Raving Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Next up is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu / Eevee. Now, this game is a remake of the very first generation of Pokemon games, Pokemon Red and Blue, which were the first Pokemon games I ever played, actually. This game comes with a mix of gameplay from the Pokemon Go app, which you might be familiar with. That game took on a massive boost of popularity. Most people who are Pokemon fans probably will have played Pokemon Go at some point. So if you enjoy Pokemon Go and you enjoy the mainline Pokemon games, you will enjoy this game as it crosses over both games. In this game, you will play through the Kanto region, which is where you will find the very first generation of Pokemon, so the first 151 Pokemon. This is my favorite generation of Pokemon. It's the most iconic generation of Pokemon. Travel across Kanto and take on the 8 gym leaders, show off your Pokemon and trade Pokemon. However, there is a slight twist to this. Like I say, with the Pokemon Go mechanics, when you come to catching Pokemon in this game, you will play the game like you would in Pokemon Go. In Pokemon Go, you would have to swipe the screen to catch the Pokemon and throw Pokeballs. It's very similar in this game, as in you have to motion control your Pokeballs to catch Pokemon. This was a very different kind of remake, I suppose. It definitely played on the popularity of Pokemon Go, and I think Nintendo wanted to go a little bit different with their remake on this. But I really highly recommend this game just because the Kanto region is such a great region in Pokemon. Probably the most iconic region out of them all, because the original Pokemon series, you know, the Indigo League as they called it, obviously where Pokemon was at its height. Every kid in the 90s and early 2000s was watching Pokemon. I can prove that because I was one of them. Even people who don't play Pokemon anymore will tell you that the Kanto region was their place to go as a child. This is a great one if you kind of want to get into the old school original Pokemon and see a more updated style. You know, there is also Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, which is the Gen 1 remake as well, but this is the newer version of the remake. It's on the Nintendo Switch. It actually looks really nice. I really like the art style in this game. I really wish that Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl took the art style from this game and remade Gen 4 with that art style. So I actually really like this art style, and I think it really works well for the Pokemon series. But yeah, go play it. I actually highly recommend it. So there we go. Next up is a game called Super Princess Peach Showtime. Now this is Princess Peach's own video game. So Princess Peach is one of the main characters from the Super Mario franchise. Princess Peach, however, has only ever had 2 games where she has been the lead character, which is a real shame really, because Princess Peach is such a great character, you know. She's one of the staples of the Super Mario franchise, and she definitely deserves more recognition. She has recently had this resurgence of a character, and I feel like Nintendo have kind of turned her into this girl boss character that, you know, is working really well for the Princess Peach character. Ever since the Super Mario movie, she has become more popular. People are liking this character more, you know. She actually has a personality rather than just being the damsel in distress or being the crying character, you know, that she was in Super Princess Peach. She's a lot further from that now. Princess Peach Showtime is Princess Peach's biggest game yet. What happens in this game is Princess Peach goes into this stage-like world where it's almost like a stage production. And what happens is she goes through these different like worlds in this production that leads to her gaining different abilities. For example, there is an ice skating level, there's a detective level, there's a mermaid level, there's this kind of like kaiju fighting superhero level, different styles of gameplay in there. It's a very contained game that has a lot of big ideas, and Princess Peach Showtime really does stand out as one of the best games of 2024, albeit very short. You know, it wasn't the biggest Nintendo game release this year, and it definitely had a smaller budget compared to some other Nintendo games. Princess Peach Showtime really felt like it was the direction that Princess Peach needed to go in. This game definitely had a lot of Nintendo polish to it, and it felt really nice to play. Even if you're not really a Mario fan or you're not a massive gamer, this is a great game to play because it's a very casual game. It's got a bit of a cozy feel to it, and you know, you can just pick up and play it. You know, outright fun. As a character, you know, she's had massive improvements, and I think this is a point in the right direction. I can imagine that there's going to be more Princess Peach games in the future after this one. And then moving on to another Mario character, I'm now going to talk about Luigi's Mansion 3. Now, Luigi's Mansion 3 is Luigi's finest hour. Luigi's Mansion 3 is the best Luigi's Mansion game. If you're not familiar with Luigi's Mansion, basically imagine the game as a younger version of Resident Evil. That's a very strange comparison, but it's so true. In this game, Luigi becomes a ghost hunter using the Poltergust, which is an item that Luigi has kind of become synonymous with since the first ever game on the GameCube. What happens in this game is Luigi will go around this hotel, which he has been hired to go and check out and basically get rid of the ghosts inside. Luigi's Mansion is this kind of like Metroidvania game that is very contained into this hotel, and this hotel is full of tricks and turns and twists, different rooms and different styles of gameplay that you can come across, and it really works out as a game that is just super entertaining. There's always something new happening at every corner. When you come to ghost busting in this game, ends up being that it's very fun in the fact that all of the different ghosts have their own like gimmicks and styles of boss fight. It also works out as a very good puzzle game as well, like Resident Evil, which is my comparison. You know, that game was a puzzle game that was in this mansion, and you was stuck in this mansion, and the only way to escape was to solve all the puzzles, and that's exactly what Luigi's Mansion is. This is Nintendo's version of Resident Evil, and it stars Luigi. So I really recommend this game. It's a great fun time. This game also comes with a 2-player mode where the second player gets to play as a character known as Gooigi, who is basically a copy of Luigi. It's a clone of Luigi, but made out of goo. The idea of this is you're supposed to have co-op gameplay. Luigi and Gooigi can solve puzzles together. Sometimes there are puzzles that require 2 people in this game, so it's a really, really good time. If you want a great game to play with someone else as well, Luigi's Mansion 3 is a great co-op game to have. So highly recommended game. Luigi's Mansion 3, get it. It's the best in the Luigi's Mansion series. Now, before I continue, I'd just like to say, please do make sure you like, comment and subscribe on the video. It really helps out the channel. I'm trying to hit 2,000 subscribers and I'm really enjoying making these videos. So if I see you guys interacting and subscribing or liking this video, it helps boost me to make more of these kinds of videos. So please do take your time to do that. It really makes me smile, so I really appreciate it. Anyway, next game. The next game I'm going to talk about is a game known as Dr. Kawashima's Brain Training for Nintendo Switch. Dr. Kawashima's Brain Training for Nintendo Switch is a game that really sounds like it shouldn't be as fun as it is. It's a game that is basically a brain teaser game. It's a game that's supposed to train you to use your brain. Doing maths, reading books, reading stories, doing puzzles like Sudoku and stuff. Doesn't sound like the most fun game in the world. Yes, okay, there is fun to those elements of this game, but it doesn't sound like the most fun game ever. But actually, when you play this game, it is. It's so fun. This game is really good. The way it plays and the way it treats you as a person is really nice, and it makes you feel like you're progressing, because the idea is you're supposed to play this game practically every single day and progress as a person when it comes to training your brain. So when you do like a memory test or a reading test, or comprehension, maths, stuff like that, it basically helps boost your brain, and over time the game will tell you how old your brain is. So the younger your brain is, the more alert you are, the more electrified you are, you're better as a person when it comes to being smarter, I guess. Be more active with your brain. So this is what it is. It's a really fun 10-minute game you can just play every single day and just have a little bit of fun with. Or if you want, there's even game modes in this game. For example, there is a Dr. Mario game in this that you can play, which is just a nice chill game. It's a nice game to play just before bed, just to chill out and just play. You got that nice relaxing music in the background or stuff like that. Or you can just play some of the game. Nothing wrong with just doing a little bit of times tables every single day, or doing like a memory game, or you have to draw a line and get your stylus to the right points of the map that you have to draw out. Things like that which really help progress your brain and keep you active. It really helps, for example, playing this if you're inactive and you're not doing anything. Why not play this? Might as well. And it will also help you for when you play other games as well, because it keeps you alert, quicker thinking. I reckon Dr. Kawashima's Brain Training Nintendo Switch is an essential just for everybody. Just take the time, 10 minutes out of your day, just to play some Dr. Kawashima and help your brain. The next game I'm going to talk about is a game known as New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. So this game, when it first came out, it came out with a bit of a groan and a moan from a lot of people, because I think a lot of people at the time were bored of this series. They were bored of the new Super Mario Bros. Games. This was when the game was on Wii U though. So the Wii U actually launched with this game. Eventually they actually moved this game over to Nintendo Switch once the Nintendo Switch was released, with new content as well. So New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is the best version of this game. This game is the deluxe version because it also comes with New Super Luigi Bros. As well, which is a spin-off title, which is almost like an expansion to this game, where you get to play as Luigi throughout the whole of his story. It's relatively fun. It's a bit more difficult than the actual main game as well. So New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is a 2D platforming Mario game. So if you've ever played a 2D platforming game like Super Mario Bros. Wonder or Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES, this is that, but for the Nintendo Switch, and it plays really nice. It's a relatively good looking game as well. It's not the best Mario game ever, but it's definitely one of the best 2D games. In fact, I would probably go as long to say that the New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe might actually be the best New Super Mario Bros. Game, and it's probably the most advanced and the best looking, because this is in HD. This is good for multiplayer as well. You can play this game multiplayer, it turns into chaos. I do actually recommend this. I think as a Super Mario Bros. Game, even just to play it, just because it's Super Mario Bros. Nintendo have so much polish on their Super Mario Bros. Games. In this game, you'll go through more than 8 worlds. I can never actually remember the total of worlds that you go through, but there's definitely more than 8 worlds, and 8 is the traditional amount of worlds in a Mario game, but there's more than 8. In this game, you will go through worlds like a fire world, a beach world, a Mushroom Kingdom world, loads of different worlds and different levels, and all with goals such as finding the golden coins or getting to the top of the flagpole in each level. There's always that kind of mission to reach and get every single collectible in the game, so that you do unlock the special stages at the end of the game. There's obviously the Bowser world as well at the end of the game, where you'll take on Bowser and stuff like that. It's very much like Super Mario 3D World, which I mentioned in the last video. It's a traditional 2D Mario game, so it's very similar to that, but in 2D. I'd play this. I think it's a good game. Not the best Mario game ever, but it's definitely one of the best 2D Mario games, so I recommend it. Next up is a game that I actually have a lot of nostalgia for, and even though this is a new version of that game, I'm going to be talking about new Pokemon Snap. So Pokemon Snap was a game on the Nintendo 64 which I loved, really loved Pokemon Snap. It's a photography game that you go around and you basically go through these different levels and you photograph Pokemon for points, and at the end of every stage you'll get to show off your pictures. You're basically like this photographer researcher who is researching Pokemon in their natural habitat. It's nice. It's a cozy game. There's a lot of charm to this game, where there's lots of things happening and you can discover new secrets and stuff like that by interacting with the Pokemon in certain ways. Eventually you can go to different levels, because some levels break off into new levels if you find a secret route. It's awesome things like that which make Pokemon Snap the game it is, because there's a lot of secrets and a lot of awesome things to discover. New Pokemon Snap basically took the core gameplay of the original Pokemon Snap on the Nintendo 64 and updated it by taking you to new levels and updating with the newer Pokemon. I think it's up to Pokemon Sword and Shield. It may not be the longest game in the world, and it might not actually be the most advanced Pokemon game, but it's actually one of the best looking Pokemon game there is. I actually think this game looks really, really nice as a game. It's very nice to look at, say, on a Nintendo Switch OLED, and just to, explore and do the different levels and missions and take the photos of the different Pokemon and see how they interact with you if you interact with them. It's awesome things like that which make this game. And also, this game could inspire you. One of the reasons why I'm into photography and video making, filmmaking, is because of Pokemon Snap. Pokemon Snap as a child massively inspired me. I loved it because you got to take photographs, but I think Pokemon Snap might have been one of the factors, because it was such a fun experience as a child, that it could inspire you. I recommend new Pokemon Snap for your Nintendo Switch. The final game I'm going to talk about in this video is one of the newer games that has just come out this year, and that is The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. It wouldn't be right if I didn't at least add one Zelda game to this video. So Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom is the newest Zelda game in the series, and in this game you will play as the character Zelda. No, you do not play as Link, you play as Zelda. She is the main character of this game. This game is Zelda's Hour. This game is actually a sequel to The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, and the Oracle games. The Voids are taking over Hyrule. They are slowly eating Hyrule up. Zelda is set on a mission to basically find out how to stop it. Link is absent in this game, as he is taken away by the Voids at the start of the game. This gives Zelda an opportunity to shine, as she gets to use her abilities alongside the character known as Tri, who gives her a magical staff which allows her to create echoes of enemies she's defeated, or echoes of items she has attained. It works out really well, as this game is kind of like a hybrid between a traditional Zelda game with dungeons and item progression, as well as the newer style games like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. This game is kind of like a cross mix of both of those styles of games, so the newer open world puzzle games alongside the traditional linear Zelda games. This game does give you the option to explore the world however you want. You can go to any dungeon you want at any time. There is a story in this game which does kind of direct you in a certain path, but you can veer off that path and go to any place you want at any time. You don't have to follow the actual story. You can go to any dungeon you want. You'll find echoes everywhere you go. Every enemy you face and defeat will turn into an echo for you, and you can use them for you basically to fight other enemies or solve puzzles across the world. There is this one puzzle in the game where you're supposed to echo a box to float up through a stream of water which is too strong to swim through. What happens is when you echo a box, the box actually floats up to the top of the water, and because you can tether to that item using your staff, you end up floating up with the box to the surface, past through this really harsh stream of water which you can't swim through alone. So it's puzzles like that which work out really well. This game does have a few flaws, as some of the puzzles can be cheesed in this game because of the open imagination that this game lets you have. Kind of the whole point, I suppose. Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild both had that issue as well. This game has moments like that where this game can be cheesed a lot through some of the puzzles. It doesn't take away from the fun factor of this game. It's still a fun game. A lot of people have said is actually a really, really good game for its puzzles. A lot of puzzles in this game which actually are very creative and have never been done before in a Zelda game. With this new fighting style and this new gameplay style with the character of Zelda, Link does kind of become a bit of an afterthought in this game. However, I do think that while you're playing this game, from my experience, you do start to kind of miss the sword gameplay that Link usually brings to Zelda games. So the creators of this game did actually give you an option to use a sword in this game by turning into Link for a few moments. It gives you like this meter of energy where you can turn it into Link for like, say, a minute, and you get to use Link's sword and shield for a bit. And some of the items like a bow and arrow, bombs. That does kind of cheese the game a little bit, I suppose. It does kind of make you feel like you can just beat the game using sword and shield if you really wanted to, but at the same time, it takes away from that kind of awesome gameplay that actually very creative for Zelda and very imaginative and outside the box, and something that the Zelda games had never done before. This is actually a very fun game. It's not my favourite Zelda game ever. It's not even my favourite game of the year, but it's definitely one of the better games of the year that Nintendo have made, and it's probably one of their bigger games this year. I would highly recommend Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Go check it out. Like I said, come out this year, so it's definitely one of the more essential games this Christmas. Christmas is coming up soon. I don't know how many more of these videos I'll be getting out, but I'll definitely be trying to get out as many as I can, so please do look out for them. Really appreciating your guys' feedback. I think you guys are contributing to these videos and helping me make decisions on these videos that I'm really enjoying doing, so watch out for more videos in the future. If you have liked this video, please do like, comment and subscribe on the video. It really helps out the channel. It really does only take a couple of seconds just to press that subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. If you're a Nintendo Switch fan, this is the perfect place to be right now, because I am talking about Nintendo Switch games. If you're new to Nintendo Switch and you've just brought a Nintendo Switch, again, this is the perfect place to be for your sake. Use these videos as much as you like to choose the games that you'll buy for Nintendo Switch. Please check out last week's video of this series I'm doing for most essential Christmas games in 2024 on Nintendo Switch, and I shall see you for the next one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you around. Bye.